They fined me $250 a day for flying the American flag on my own front porch. That's $7,500 a month for something I bled to defend. My name is Daniel Harper. I'm a 52-year-old Army veteran, and I never thought I'd be called a criminal for honoring the country I served. But 3 months ago, my homeowners association declared war on me, my family, and the very flag I fought under in Desert Storm. What they didn't realize was that this wasn't just a fight over cloth on a pole. It was a fight for freedom itself. And they picked the wrong soldier. It started simple. My wife Linda and I had just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. We live in Crestwood Meadows, a suburban neighborhood in Northern Virginia. Our home isn't fancy, but it's ours. A brick two-story with a small front yard, a maple tree Emma, our 18-year-old daughter, used to climb when she was little. Last Memorial Day, I installed a new aluminum flagpole on our porch. I hung a 4x6 American flag, the same one that covered my buddy Charlie's casket when he was brought home from Iraq. I promised Charlie's mom I'd keep his memory alive. Flying that flag was my way of doing it. For a week, neighbors waved, kids saluted when they rode their bikes past my house, and veterans in the area thanked me. Then came the letter. Thick white envelope stamped with the Crestwood Meadows HOA seal. Inside was a notice of violation. It read, "Your unauthorized exterior alteration is in violation of Section 4.3 of the Uniformity Standards Covenant. Daily fines of $250 will accrue until removal." I thought it was a joke. How could anyone in America fine me for flying the U.S. flag? I crumpled the letter and tossed it. 2 days later, another envelope arrived, this time with a running tally. Amount due, $500. Linda looked at me with worry in her eyes. "Danny, they're serious." The next morning, as I sipped coffee on the porch, a woman in a navy blue pantsuit marched up my driveway like she owned it, clipboard in hand, sunglasses perched on her nose. "Mr. Harper," she said with the kind of authority you don't earn, you steal. "I'm Margaret Pierce, president of the HOA. You're in violation. That flag has to come down." I stared at her, sipping my coffee. "Ma'am, that's the American flag. I fought for it. It's not coming down." Her lips tightened. "We have uniformity rules. No exterior decorations outside approved holidays. Flags are limited to HOA-issued garden banners. Your non-compliance sets a dangerous precedent." "Dangerous precedent?" I said. "Lady, the only dangerous precedent here is telling a veteran he can't fly his country's flag." She scribbled something on her clipboard. "Every day it stays up, the fine increases. You'll hear from our attorney." Then she turned on her heel and marched off like a general retreating to regroup. By the end of June, the fines totaled $5,000. They sent certified letters, threats of liens, even hinted at foreclosure. Linda begged me to at least consider compromise. "Danny, we can't lose the house." But compromise wasn't an option. My father fought in Korea, I fought in Desert Storm, and my daughter Emma was considering ROTC for college. The Harper family doesn't back down from bullies. Word started spreading in the neighborhood. Some folks supported me quietly, a nod, a whisper of "hang tough, brother." Others avoided eye contact, scared of crossing Margaret. Then came the next door posts. "Harper endangering property values. Neighborhood under siege by rogue flag." The pettiness burned worse than the fines. One evening, my neighbor John, a Marine veteran, walked over with a six-pack. "Heard about the trouble. Mind if I join you under Old Glory?" We sat on the porch, swapping stories of deployments, while the flag rippled above us. That night, John shared my story on Facebook. By morning, it had 2,000 shares. By evening, local news called. Channel 7 parked a van on my lawn, reporter in a bright blazer asking, "Mr. Harper, is it true your HOA is fining you thousands for flying the American flag?" I held up the violation letter. "You tell me." That clip aired at 6 p.m., and by 9 p.m., Fox, CNN, and even national outlets were calling. Margaret wasn't happy. The very next day, she convened an emergency HOA board meeting. I wasn't invited, but John's wife, who served as secretary, leaked me the agenda. Item number 1, motion to accelerate foreclosure proceedings against Harper residents. They wanted my house, not just the fines. My house. That night, Emma sat at the dining table, laptop open. Dad, did you know Virginia has a Freedom to Display the American Flag Act? Federal law passed in 2005. It says no HOA can ban or restrict homeowners from flying the U.S. flag on their property. I leaned over her shoulder. She was right. Margaret had either ignored the law or thought she was above it. That gave me ammunition. I called a lawyer, Sarah Green, recommended by a fellow vet. When I handed her the violation letters, she shook her head. This is textbook unlawful restriction, and the fines? Extortionate. We'll hit them with an injunction before they even spell foreclosure. Meanwhile, the internet took over. John's Facebook post turned into a movement. Hashtag number Let It Fly trended on Twitter. Veterans groups across the country shared my story. By Independence Day, my lawn wasn't empty. It was covered. Neighbors who had been too scared started planting flags in their yards. 10, then 50, then nearly every house on my street. A sea of red, white, and blue. Margaret's HOA looked out their windows and saw rebellion. The HOA retaliated. They hired a private security firm to monitor compliance. SUVs with flashing lights parked outside my house like I was under surveillance. Neighbors filmed them and posted online. Comments flooded in, "This is America, not North Korea." Donations poured into a GoFundMe Linda set up for legal fees. $87,000 in 2 weeks. By August, the HOA filed a lawsuit in county court. Crestwood Meadows versus Daniel Harper. Their claim? Excessive noncompliance threatening neighborhood uniformity and property values. Our defense? The Constitution. Court day arrived like a battlefield. The courthouse lawn filled with veterans in uniform, waving flags. News vans lined the street. Inside, Margaret sat smug at the plaintiff's table, flanked by 2 lawyers. I sat with Sarah, heart pounding but steady. The judge, a stern man named Richard Holbrook, called the case. Margaret's attorney argued first. Your Honor, the HOA has clear authority to enforce covenants. Mr. Harper's unauthorized flagpole violates Section 4.3. Uniformity ensures property values remain stable, Sarah stood. Your Honor, Congress passed the Freedom to Display the American Flag Act of 2005. It explicitly prohibits HOAs from restricting homeowners from flying the American flag on residential property. What Crestwood Meadows is doing isn't enforcement. It's un-American. She handed the judge a copy of the act. He adjusted his glasses, scanning. Margaret's attorney stammered about aesthetic consistency. The judge raised a hand. Are you suggesting property values outweigh federal law? The attorney faltered. Then Sarah dropped the hammer. Not only did they fine Mr. Harper illegally, but they also threatened foreclosure, a tactic amounting to harassment and fraud. We moved for immediate dismissal, damages, and legal fees. The courtroom murmured. Judge Holbrook leaned forward. Mrs. Pierce, step forward. Margaret's heels clicked like gunshots on the tile. The judge fixed her with a glare. Did you knowingly ignore federal law? She tried to bluster. I acted in the best interest of the community. In this country, the judge said slowly, the community does not override the Constitution. Case dismissed. All fines rescinded. The HOA will pay Mr. Harper's legal costs. The gavel slammed. The room erupted. Veterans saluted. Neighbors cheered. Margaret turned pale as her empire crumbled. But it didn't end there. News of the ruling went national. Congress members tweeted support. State lawmakers invited me to speak at hearings about HOA reform. Emma, tears in her eyes, hugged me outside the courthouse. Dad, you did it. You stood your ground. The HOA board dissolved within a month. Margaret resigned in disgrace after journalists uncovered she'd funneled thousands of HOA dollars into her husband's landscaping business. Crestwood Meadows elected new leadership. Neighbors who actually cared about freedom, not control. 1 year later, on Memorial Day, hundreds gathered on my lawn for a community flag raising. Veterans, neighbors, families, even strangers from other states. My porch became a stage, my flag a symbol. I raised it with John beside me, hands steady, as the Star-Spangled Banner played. I looked at Emma, at Linda, at the sea of flags stretching down the street, and felt something stronger than victory. Legacy. Margaret thought